Around the World in 80 Days, Chapter-1. The Most Mysterious Man in London. London never stayed quiet. Even early in the morning, the city was already full of smoke, noise, and movement. Carriages rolled over the wet streets, newspaper sellers shouted headlines, and people hurried along the roads as if every minute cost money. Grey fog hung above the rooftops. It hid the tops of buildings and turned the street lights into soft golden circles. But among millions of people, there was one man who never hurried, because he was never late. His name was Filias Fogg. People knew many things about him, and at the same time almost nothing. He was rich, but nobody really understood why. He appeared in society, yet he had very few friends. He was polite, calm, and so predictable that some people thought he was more like a machine than a person. Every morning followed exactly the same routine. At the same time every day the curtains were opened. At the same time every day breakfast was served. At the same time every day Mr. Fogg left the house. People joked that if Big Ben ever stopped working, London could still live according to Phileas Fogg's schedule. His house on Savile Row looked just like its owner, neat, quiet, and perfectly organized. Even the air inside seemed too perfect. That day, however, the house was unusually quiet. Fogg once again had no servant. The reason was so strange that servants around the neighborhood later told the story to one another. The shaving water had been a few degrees colder than usual. Just a few degrees. But for Mr. Fogg, order meant everything. On the same morning, a man with a small suitcase was walking quickly down another London street. He was completely different from Fogg. Жаном Паспарту loved talking, laughing, and telling stories. During his life, he had worked as an actor, a teacher, an assistant, a firefighter, and even a traveling acrobat. But now he wanted only one thing: peace.
No adventures,
He said to himself while walking past the shops.
no surprises, just a quiet job and a normal life.
He stopped in front of a beautiful house, looked up, looked at the windows.
Perfect.
He smiled.
A man with this kind of reputation must live a boring life.
If only he knew how wrong he was. The door was opened by a tall, calm man. Mr. Fogg looked flawless. A perfectly ironed suit, a calm expression, and the face of someone who could not easily be surprised. Passepartout immediately felt strange pressure, as if he had entered an exam, not a house.
Your name?
Fogg asked calmly.
Jean Passepartout, sir. Are you punctual? Yes, sir. Can you keep secrets? Of course. Do you like order?
Passepartout stayed silent for a second. Not really, but he needed a job.
Yes, sir.
Fogg looked at him carefully for a few moments. Then he gave a short nod.
You are hired.
That was all. No smile, no long conversation, no questions about the past. When Passepartout left the room, he let out a deep breath.
At last,
He whispered.
my peaceful life is beginning.
Outside, rain had just begun. London was becoming grey and blurry, as if the city already knew something they didn't. That evening, as always, Mr. Fogg went to his club. Everything there was familiar: heavy armchairs, quiet conversations, and the smell of coffee and newspapers. The men were discussing the news. That day, everyone was talking about transport: new railways, new steamships, new routes. The world was becoming smaller.
The newspaper says that now it is possible to travel around the world in 80 days.
One gentleman said. Laughter came from a round table.
Impossible. Too risky. There will definitely be delays somewhere.
Fogg calmly turned the page of his newspaper.
It is possible.
He said quietly. The conversation stopped. Even the noise of the club suddenly seemed softer.
Do you really believe that?
One man asked. Fogg looked up. His face stayed calm.
I am certain.
At that moment, Passepartout was at home putting his things into cupboards and enjoying his new quiet job. He still didn't know that his peaceful life would end before the day was over. And London still didn't know that in only a few minutes it would witness the strangest bet of the century.